everyone. Thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about A Dragonbird and a Fern by Laura Rucard. This was the Book of the Month winner for August on Sin's Workshop. Thanks again for all of your votes once more. I have to say I really did enjoy this novel, mainly because of the character development and the storytelling. So the novel follows Princess Giara. She is marrying a foreign king. The thing is, she was never supposed to marry him. It was supposed to be her sister. But her sister is dead. Her sister was murdered, actually, before the story even begins. And in her realm, what happens when you're murdered is, well, you kind of come back as a vengeful ghost, or as they like to call them, Earthwalkers. And what Earthwalkers do is they end up harming pretty much everyone that cared about them while they were living. Like I said, vengeful. And they'll keep doing this until their murder is solved. So Princess Giara, she is going to marry King Grafar'S. Now, he's a good guy. I really do like his characterization. I love the fact that from afar, Giara was always, kind of smitten with him. She had a little bit of a crush on him. She thought he was she thought he was cute. So she was always drawn to him as a person. But what I think is really good about their relationship is their foundation. So he at first doesn't want to marry her, not for anything other than her age, really. He was smitten with her as well, but it was her age that kind of threw him, because in his culture, no marriage, nothing before age 18. So he's very respectful of Giara as a person. And that kind of just makes him charming, because they have different beliefs, but what he always maintains, what he always manages to do, and why I like their dynamic so much, is he continues to be very respectful of her. They don't really believe in Earthwalkers, but he's willing to investigate it in order to put her at ease and make her beliefs feel respected. Grafar'S is charming and respectful, and that's why I liked him so much, and that's why I liked their dynamic and their growth, because throughout the entire narrative, she's going to a foreign kingdom. She doesn't know the language. She has dyslexia too, which I want to talk about in a little bit. So learning to read is very challenging for her, but he doesn't push her. The only thing he pushes her is, if we're going to get married, I really want you to wear this bracelet of my God so that he's always there to protect you. And it's a good thing she actually does do that. Because there are multiple assassination attempts on this poor girl. So their relationship, their dynamic, their foundation, it builds. You're seeing them go from just kind of having crushes on each other to really learning about each other, to really developing that relationship, to make their love believable. They grow as friends. They grow to understand each other, even though there is that language barrier. I will say, with the writing sometimes, I did often get a little confused, just because I wasn't clear on, okay, is he the one who's speaking, or is it just the translator speaking? There were not so many ticks, because I was like, well, why do you need a translator? He's speaking fine. But, when I think about it, I'm like, well, maybe that's the translator talking, but the writer's just writing it in Grafar'S voice. So they do have this language barrier between them, and I do think that when they were writing, when Ruckart was writing those specific lines and scenes, it did get a little confusing sometimes, because you're wondering, okay, he sounds like he can understand the language just fine. It sounds like they can understand each other perfectly. It's not the case. You have to keep reading, and then it has to go off in your head like, oh, wait a second. No, it's probably just the translator. So it was a little confusing at times who was talking, if it was Grafar or the translator. But as the story progresses, and as she's learning more of his language, and as he's learning to communicate with her better, you're seeing their relationship evolve, you're seeing it develop, you're seeing that friendship grow, you're seeing that respect grow between them. He's very respectful of her as a person, and she's very respectful of his beliefs as well. And they evolve as a couple, and that's what I really enjoyed about the novel, their evolution as a royal couple. And I love Giara's evolution as well throughout the narrative, because, again, she has dyslexia. So for her, she doesn't think she's bright. She thinks she's rather stupid. And, people are always telling her, like, no, you're not. You just have trouble reading. Like, she does have supportive people in her life. Her father is very supportive, her little brother, her mother, and Grafar. These are all very supportive people in her life. But I think it's something we can all relate to, and we're just not understanding something that a majority of people do. Then we tend to feel insecure. We tend to feel a little stupid sometimes. I remember that was me in college. Let me tell you, like, hearing all my classmates talk about in-depth things. So whenever the teacher's like, well, Cynthia made a good point, I'm like, I did? What? But their points seem so much more intelligent than mine. I think that just going through that makes her more relatable to me. And I think we can all kind of relate to feeling stupid at times. And if you are someone who has dyslexia, I know that there is always that struggle. Like, I don't know if it's a stereotype. I personally don't have dyslexia, and I don't personally know anyone close to me who has at least told me that they have dyslexia. So I'm not sure, but the stereotype that we see in media is they always tend to seem more down on themselves, like they're not as bright as everyone else. So I think if you are someone who feels like they suffer from dyslexia or a learning disability similar to dyslexia, you're going to be able to really connect to this character, because she grows through that. She overcomes it. I mean, you can't just stop being dyslexic, but you can learn to deal with it. You can learn to adapt to it. And she gains a lot of confidence in her eagerness to, solve her sister's murder, that propels her to enter uncomfortable things, uncomfortable situations. But she is evolving as a character, and she is overcoming this learning disability of hers. She's overcoming the dyslexia so that she can be the best that she can be. And she's gaining a lot of confidence in doing that. She's realizing she's not stupid, because you're not. She's realizing she's just different, that she has to learn things differently. And I think that's what really makes her a good character, and that's why I found her characterization empowering. As for the story itself, I did love the plot evolution. I did love the fantasy of the Watchers and the Earthwalkers. So the Watchers are the gods, pretty much, of King Grafar'S land. And one second, I'm going to turn on another light. It's starting to get a little dark with the dark and stormy clouds. So much better. The Watchers are the gods of King Grafar'S land. And there are 3 different gods. There's the Stone Watcher, the Water Watcher, and I forgot what the third the third one is. And as the story is going forward, the mythology, the spirituality behind these gods comes to life. It's not all straightforward, like, oh yeah, this is the god of what, blah, 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 blah. No, because Yara is learning about this culture, and you are learning about it with her. So I think it was a really good moment for the storytelling to really develop the gods and the mythology and the Earthwalkers, to develop that side of the fantasy, as well as the political intrigue with King Grafar'S country. I liked the sense of equality in the novel. I liked this respectability of the world building, this cleanliness to the romance. I really do think that it is a good story. You know, it's a good, clean read. If you're a parent, I know a lot of parents, I see it on all the book groups that I'm reading. You know, they're always asking, is there smut? This is a book without smut. And it has a good story to it. It has good characterization. And it is, I think it's empowering. Because I know when, years ago, my teachers thought I had a learning disability with reading. I just didn't like to read. I know. Shocker, right? I don't like to read. So I think if you know someone like that, I think this is going to be a good story. If you know someone who struggles to read, this is going to be a good story for them, because they can really relate to the character. And you can really see her character growth. You can really see her come into herself and gain confidence, and just, I mean, she kind of kicks ass by the end of it, honestly. You're just like, yeah, you go, Giara. I liked the fantasy. I love the character growth. I love the world building. I really do think the world building is also really solid. Again, the only thing that bothered me was, at times I didn't know if it was the translator talking or King Grafar talking. I was just like, okay, who's talking right now? Like, is it Grafar or is it the translator? That was it. That was probably my only pet peeve. I really wish that those sections of dialogue had been written clearer. But in any case, I do have to give A Dragonbird and the Fern 4 out of 5 stars. I really do think it is a moving story. I really do think it is relatable character-wise. And I do think the pace and the rising tension are very steady. I really did enjoy it. So if you're going to go ahead and purchase the book, please remember to purchase the book from your local bookstore or online book retailer. You don't have to, if there is no bookstore in your neighborhood, please support the bookstores by using Bookshop.org, which will find a local bookstore in your neighborhood and donate the proceeds of your sales to that bookstore. IndieBound, Books A Million, BarnesandNoble.com, Book Depository, Better World Books, Book Outlet. All I ask is that you support all the numerous book websites, numerous bookstores, instead of just going to Amazon. Just support your bookstores, please. If money's tight, check out the book from your local library. If you don't have a library card, you can get a digital library card to get ebooks and audiobooks from them. If your library is still closed, well, many of them are doing curbside pickups. You can check out the library book from them for curbside pickup. And on that note, I hope you all will continue to support me here by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and sharing it with all your book-loving friends. You can also become a supporter on Buy Me a Coffee or by purchasing one of my handmade candles. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.